Hello my dear friends, welcome to the Bosnia Rally 2025. I've just made the long journey here to Bosnia. I have covered 1,500 kilometers to get here, and I'm really excited to be part of this incredible event which takes place every year in July. This is my second time taking part in the Bosnia Rally, once again riding my Himalayan 411. And I honestly say one thing, this event is exceptionally well organized by Stefan Rosner, a private individual from Austria, who puts an incredible amount of time and effort into making this rally happen. By the way, Stefan also organizes other rally events, including the Montera Raid and the Sika Raid. The first day here is all about preparation. The first step is to take care of a few formalities, completing the registration and picking up a GPS tracker which must be installed on the bike, for safety reasons, in case something happens out on the trails. After that there's the welcome package to collect, followed by the motorcycle's technical inspection. The technical inspection has been completed without any problems. The most important component that is checked is here the horn. We laugh about it, but in fact the horn is there to warn other riders. Before we finally get started, I would like to briefly introduce my bike to you. For everyone who hasn't recognized it yet, this is the Royal Enfield Himalayan 411, model year 2021, with an air and oil-cooled long-stroke single-cylinder engine. It's an incredible, reliable power unit that has taken me everywhere so far. It currently has 48,000 kilometers on the clock, and yes, it's a simple and very solid bike. Maybe some riders laugh about this bike, but I can tell you one thing. They are going to be pretty surprised when I ride past them or when they find me waiting for them on the mountain peaks of Bosnia. They have no idea. As you can see, my machine has been modified quite extensively. The engine itself is completely original and untouched. Of course, I have made some changes to the suspension. I raised the bike slightly, installed an Öhlins shock absorber at the rear and fitted slightly stiffer springs at the front. I also adjusted the ergonomics accordingly with a higher handlebar and proper foot pegs, so that standing on the bike is simply more comfortable. As you can see, I have also installed a steering dampener to make riding in sand and rocky terrain easier. There's also a lightweight exhaust which saves me around 3 kilograms and a lightweight battery which saves another 3 kilograms. And yes, I have made a whole range of modification to this bike, but this would take far too long to explain all of them now. If you have any question about the bike or the modifications I made, please feel free to write them in the comments down below. Before we start the first rally stage, there is a group gathering on the evening of the preparation day. It's called the Storm on Kupres. This is where all 445 riders come together. But first, here is a brief overview of the individual rally stages. The stages are between 200 and just over 300 kilometers long. This is a lot. By the way, the Bosnia Rally is not an event for beginners. I can definitely tell you that. If you show up there as a beginner, you will be in for a real challenge and you will certainly reach and even exceed your limits. Nevertheless, it's an unforgettable event that I can highly recommend to everyone. The goal isn't to be the first one on the finish line, but the number one goal is to finish and don't give up and have fun, of course. So this is where we begin, and I make my way from my hotel towards the paddock. Maybe 10 kilometers to go. That's where the start takes place. The first stage goes to Glamoch. It's a 213 kilometers long track, and as you can see here, it's already crowded. The riders lined up very early, which unfortunately also means that I can't start at 8 AM as planned. This actually means that I won't be able to set off until 9 AM, which will of course cause me some problems later on. Here you can see Stefan. He is the organizer and he is stamping my time card. This records the exact time of the start, and of course once you return to the paddock you also get the arrival stamp. Yes, and of course today I'm taking the hard track. I'm not going to miss out on that. At the Bosnia Rally there are two different tracks, the so-called adventure track or light track, which is designed for heavier adventure bikes, and the hard track, which is not recommended for heavier machines. And I would say it like this: if Stefan says it's hard, then it's really hard. Apart from that, even the adventure track is not easy to ride. There are always some nasty surprises waiting here at the Bosnia Rally, and it's definitely not an easy event. Yes, the first part of the route mainly takes us across meadows and open dirt tracks. The first period after starting the off-roading is always really challenging. You first have to get used to it. Get your body properly adjusted and shake off the initial stiffness from your bones. Usually it really takes about 2 days until you are fully in rhythm and comfortable with the terrain. So don't be surprised that I'm still riding a little bit cautiously in some sections here. The tracks in Bosnia mostly consist of rocky stony trails with a lot of loose gravel and debris. There are also many ruts and sandy sections, as well as trails running through forests and across meadows. Wow. Besides these rocky gravel tracks, there are of course also beautiful open landscapes and high plateaus. Even though some sections may look harmless, there are often large rocks hidden underneath the grass, and at any time you can hit one if you don't spot it. As you can see, I'm riding very carefully here. One thing you should not forget is that I rode the entire way here from home on my motorcycle, with very few of the riders here have done. Most of them load their bikes onto a van or trailer and transport them down here. On the other hand, I'm riding the entire distance on a single set of tires, and of course I still have a long journey ahead of me. After the rally I want to continue all the way to northern Greece, and that still means several thousands more kilometers, so always keep that in mind. I'm not just here for a weekend trip with a van or a support team waiting for me in the paddock. On the other hand, I'm still dealing with some pain from my crash on the way here. I'm still taking at least 2 ibuprofen every day. One very important thing in Bosnia is that you should not push it too far, and you should not become overconfident. It can happen at any time that you hit a rock in the wrong way and suddenly you are thrown off the bike. You break your shoulder or ribs, or your bike gets damaged, and that's the end of your rally. Another thing to keep in mind is that it's a very, very long riding day. Up to 300 off-road kilometers in this kind of terrain require a huge amount of concentration through the day. And it's also not a good idea to ride too fast, because towards the end of the day you start to lose focus, and that increases the risk of crashing. After many kilometers, I have finally reached a spot where I can take a break. Here I'm facing the first difficult section that was already announced. A very challenging rocky slope covered with loose rocks. And I'm really curious to see whether I can make it through. First, I pass through a small ghost village before reaching the climb. It starts off relatively harmless, but the further I get up, the more difficult it becomes. At this point, I'm still riding a lot while sitting down, because I'm not really warmed up yet. And here comes the first section where some riders are already getting stuck, which is always a sure sign that things are becoming really challenging. Of course, you have to wait until the bikes in front of you have made their way through, and then you can continue. The secret on these steep climbs with loose rocks is, of course, to keep your momentum and avoid stopping. Because once you come to standstill, it becomes extremely difficult to get going again on these sections. So I keep fighting my way further and further up the mountain, trying to make progress step by step and hoping that I can maintain my speed here. But that's not really easy, because the terrain is extremely difficult to ride, and of course there are also other riders blocking the way again. Then of course you have a big problem of possibly choosing the wrong line, which can create further difficulties when trying to get moving again. As you can see, even the riders on hard enduro bikes are having serious problems here, and the first riders are already turning back, which is also not a good sign. But for now I keep pushing forward and manage to find a reasonably good line through the section. As you can also see, some riders are already looking for a way across the meadow. Even though there are a lot of big rocks hidden there, which makes things really difficult as well, but apparently it's still a better option than continuing this path. So I keep fighting my way further and further up the mountain, step by step. It's an incredible hot day, and of course it takes a huge toll on my fitness. I'm really exhausted, especially because I'm not yet back to full physical strength. So I pull over to the side for a while and watch the other riders struggle their way up to the section. In the end, many riders pass me, and I keep waiting and waiting to recover. Yeah, then I make a decision that I normally don't like. Turning around at this point and looking for an alternative route. I'm usually not the kind of person who turns back. Yeah, but Here I simply can't judge how much further this climb continues. And yes, I'm in pain, I'm obviously getting overheated, and I also have to remember that I still have the entire rally ahead of me. Today is only the first day, and I still want to continue to Greece. Yeah, maybe it's not a good idea to challenge fate already on the first day. So in the end I turn around and look for another way around, and of course there will be a rematch. I'm absolutely sure of that. After riding back down this climb, I find a wonderful bypass nearby, and yes, after some time I actually managed to get back onto the track. So I continue my journey across the Bosnian high plateaus until I eventually take a break and think about how to proceed. At that hill I lost almost 2 hours, and of course I had already started the day very late, so it quickly becomes clear to me that I won't be able to make it back to the paddock within the scheduled time limit of 6 p.m. today. So I keep going further and further until I'm eventually stopped here by one of the course marshals. She explains to me and to the other riders as well that we are running too late, that we won't be able to make it back in time, and that it's too late and too risky to continue off-roading. She recommends to use the main road instead of the off-road trails and returning back to the paddock. And with that we have completed the first stage. Shortened, yes, but completed, yeah. However, I have to admit that it does bother me a little bit that I had to turn around on that climb. But anyway, we will meet again. To celebrate the day, I ride to the nearby restaurant Hotel Jezero and treat myself to a proper meal, then enjoy the rest of the evening with a beer. And with that, I would say, see you the next day. So welcome to day 2 and the very long stage to Kresovo. Today it's 321 kilometers, and I already know from the outset that there's no way I will be able to complete it today because it's simply far too long. At an average speed of maybe 25 kilometers per hour at most, it's just not possible in the available time. I'm still feeling the after effects of yesterday and I'm a bit worn out, but I'm sure it will be fine. As you can see, it's really crowded again, and that means there's no way I will be leaving here at 8 o'clock today either. So there's no point stressing about it. I will just take today's stage nice and easy. The stage starts off fairly easy, winding its way through the forest. The beginning of the stage is relaxed and straightforward. the hours go by, I notice that I'm feeling better and more relaxed on the bike, which allows me to pick up the pace. A little later you can unfortunately see what happens when you lose concentration or push yourself a bit too hard. But people are already helping, and also the moto medic is on the scene as well. One of the really special things about the Bosnia Rally is that if you happen to crash or drop your bike and can't get it back up on your own, there's always someone around to help you. In the event of a medical emergency, you can simply press a button on your tracker to request medical assistance. If your motorcycle breaks down on the route and you can't repair it yourself, you can also call for help, and your bike will be recovered after the rally stage. That said, you should be able to change a flat tire on your own. During the Bosnia Rally, there were also a number of retirements, although this affected almost exclusively KTM-powered motorcycles. As you can see, some riders use these wide open gravel tracks to really open the throttle, which of course creates huge clouds of dust. Finally, I reached the point where the hard track and the adventure track split. From the briefing I know that a very steep and challenging climb is coming up, and I'm still debating whether I should follow the hard track today or play it safe. But since I still have a score to settle after yesterday, I decide to take the hard track after all and see how it goes. Even though it's hard to tell from the camera footage, the climb gets steeper and steeper, with lots of large loose rocks scattered all over the trail. Naturally, that also means that you eventually get knocked off your line and have to stop. Yes, you want to keep your momentum, even if that's not always possible. Although it's often better to ride standing up and carry more speed, in situations like these I tend to think a little bit differently. When the terrain becomes very technical and steep and I can't properly judge what's ahead, I prefer to stay seated, climb the hill in first gear and let the long stroke engine do the work. However, it's not always easy to keep your arms relaxed, which causes your forearms to start aching fairly quickly. When that happens, it's time to take a short break.
Krass. Okay.
And just when you think you have made it through the worst of it, you can be sure that the toughest part is only just beginning. Eventually I reach another steep section and first watch how the other riders tackle the climb before deciding on my own strategy. Meter by meter I fight my way up the trail, always keeping my eyes on the next switchback, which I often use as an opportunity to take a short break. Hey. Boah. As you can see, other riders use this tactic as well. Yes, and one or two riders to stray off the trail. Yes, I also get stuck at this point and drop my bike, but it's not a big problem. After a short break I pick up the bike and continue my way. And as you can see here, even the hard enduro bikes have their difficulties with this climb. Hey. Okay. Okay. After a while and a long struggle, I finally reached the top of the mountain, and I'm incredibly happy to have made it this far. The same goes for the other riders, by the way. Now it's time to enjoy this breathtaking view. After this longer break, I begin the descent, and of course I still don't know whether I have already made it through the worst or whether the hardest part is yet to come. But there's no point worrying about it, there's no way back. After a while, I reach a fantastic plateau. For many kilometers, this fantastic mountain road winds its way through the landscape, until, after about 2 hours of riding, I finally emerge from the mountains. Finally, I reach another fantastic viewpoint. Now that I finally reach a section of asphalt, I check my map and look for a suitable exit point from the track because, as you know, today's trail is 321 kilometers long and it's impossible for me to complete it in time. So I leave the track here and ride the final 50 kilometers back on the main road. And as you can see, I'm not the only rider making this decision. And with that, my friends, I have survived the next stage. So we are back already with stage number 3. And I'm on my way to an extraordinary starting point. This time we are having a rally start outside the paddock, about 10 kilometers away from the hotel. All the competitors are already gathering there and waiting for things to get underway. Today's stage covers 237 kilometers, however the start is being delayed, so we will actually get going very late. In any case, it's already past 9 o'clock. The first few kilometers here take us over very wide gravel sections, open fields and high plateaus. Ahead of us lie vast open spaces and the landscape here is step-like. After some time, the landscape changes and we enter a kind of reed area. The vegetation becomes denser and denser. Eventually, the trail merges into a single track. This very tight, technical and also very slow terrain is ideal for my Himalayan. After we have covered many kilometers on gravel tracks again, it suddenly gets narrow once more. The bikes standing on the side are a sure sign that things are about to become more difficult and technical challenging. So the first priority is keep moving and avoid stopping. Unfortunately, this strategy only works to a limited extent when there are many riders on the course. And as we know, it's difficult to get going again once you are stuck in the loose rocks. So I'll wait for the other riders to move on first and then continue my way to the top of the mountain. Of course, it's always a nice feeling to reach the top of a mountain. Later I reached forest trails and also a beautiful high plateau with a stunning mountain road. This magnificent Bosnian landscape feels like something out of a Western movie. The only difference is that we are riding a bike here rather than a horse. Yes, but a lot of times I am amazed by these magnificent landscapes again and again. Unfortunately, during a rally, there is not much time to stop and enjoy the beautiful surroundings. That is also one of the reasons why I love traveling at a more relaxed pace and exploring places at my own speed. After many more kilometers, I reach a climb service point. Here you can grab some food and drinks and carry out some repairs if needed. continue from here across open fields and gravel tracks. And finally, to finish the day, I reach a fantastic trail that's very flowing and fast to ride. Just before Kupres, there are still a few beautiful open fields to cross, and finally, this time arriving well ahead of schedule, I reach the finish line. And with that, my friends, we are already on stage 4. And today we have 251 kilometers ahead of us. I'm really curious to see how things will go today. Once again, the start area is busy and we set off in good spirits. Rain and thunderstorms were forecast for today's stage, and sure enough, it slowly starts to drizzle. And what can I say? Unfortunately, I crashed due to a moment of inattention in the loose rocks and first need a moment to get myself together. When I finally reach the grassy high plateaus, the rain starts to get heavier. The grass becomes slippery and so does the ground beneath it. As a result, riding becomes incredibly difficult and you have to be extremely careful not to slide off somewhere. As the rain gets heavier, I decide to put my rain gear on. I continue carefully from here. Oh, okay. The next 2 hours are not on the camera. In the meantime, I reach the main road and the rain starts coming down extremely heavily. Some riders take the opportunity to make a long stop. I, however, decide to keep going and endure the rain. After the rain has eased off, I reach another highlight of this stage, a river crossing. Due to the heavy rainfall, the river level has risen even further, creating an extreme water depth. This means that the exhaust system will be completely submerged during the crossing. The most important thing when riding through deep water crossing is to avoid stalling the engine at all costs, especially when the exhaust is underwater. The Himalayan, however, does not like to stall and is quite difficult to stall. Although I don't manage to make it through this crossing in one go, I succeed in keeping the engine running and eventually reach the other side safely. It's a really great feeling to have made it through, and now I'm in good spirits and have some time to watch what the other riders are doing. As you can see, all the riders made it through with more or less problems. Although one of the marshals mentioned that a few riders completely flooded their bikes and did not make it to the other side. Some riders turned around and took the alternative route. I'm now making sure to get the water out of my boots and continue my journey in good spirits. Oops. Oops. After many more kilometers, I reach one of the absolute highlights of the Bosnia Rally. We ride through an incredible, beautiful canyon. When you pass through here, you constantly have your mouth open in amazement and can barely concentrate on the track. I do have a slightly uneasy feeling, so when I look on the drop-off on the side. Riding through here is simply indescribable.
my head, but in a way I like it, babe. I'm losing touchy feelings, might come down from the ceiling. You keep me up, and I hate that about you. I lift me up, 'cause I won't be without you. Don't let me love you, won't say that you want to. Think I'm in love, 'cause I'm leaving without you.
course, there is a service point on every stage, and I have reached it now. It is located next to a beautiful turquoise lake. Anyone who thinks it's already over is mistaken. We continue across endless gravel tracks and loose rocks. Later I finally reach the main road and decide to ride the remaining few kilometers back to the finish on the road. Because of the rain and the very slow pace in the mountains, I have lost a lot of time. The same of course applies to the river crossing. So there's no need to rush, it's time to head back to the paddock. This brings me to the fifth and final stage of the Bosnia Rally with 208 kilometers ahead of me. And it is going to be another truly fantastic day. Today's stage is mostly flowing and fast-paced, as we are riding across a lot of open terrain and easy to ride gravel sections, but, of course, there are also some challenging sections like always. You can't really see it on the camera, but because of the heavy rainfall yesterday, the forests are extremely wet. As a result, there are many muddy trails, which make steep hill climbs especially challenging. Here as well, of course, it's important to maintain momentum, which is not always easy for various reasons. Especially when other riders are blocking the way again, although they can't really do anything about it. That can happen to everyone.
Fun.
After battling my way through the forest for a while, I finally make it to the top of the mountain and it's time for a short break. In general, there are many places here where it's worth stopping and taking in the beauty of this landscape. Finally, I reach another highlight of this stage, a riverbed crossing. The crossing consists of very gravelly and loose terrain, which makes it a lot of fun to ride through. This year, however, there's not much water in the riverbed, so it's not quite as exciting as it was in 2023, when I had already ridden through this area once before. Hey, hurrah! After this very enjoyable section, I reach the service point once again. And here too, we are located on a beautiful lake. After some time I reach a huge wind farm, where it's incredible fun to ride the gravel at high speed. Now it's time to enjoy the final kilometers of the Bosnia Rally before reaching the finish line. Yes, my dear friends, I have now completed the entire rally without any serious injuries and without any problems with the bike. I'm very happy that I will be soon able to continue my journey towards northern Greece. But before that happens, there is something to celebrate and time to talk with other riders. In the evening there is another great event with the traditional Bosnian style dinner together. With that I say goodbye.